Well, hello world, this is Tea with Tosh. I'm Tosh Berman, and our special guest is musician Tom Recchion.
Hi,
Welcome,
Tosh.
Tom.
Thank you, Tosh. Nice to be here.
Do you ever feel that feeling like deja vu, like we've been through this before?
I was just going to say, I feel like I've been here before.
I know I've been here before, too.
It's been years since I've seen you, but, well,
I know.
I feel like I've lived this.
The only way I see people is by inviting them on the show, because I'm quite of a hermit at home.
And you're so busy.
Well, busy.
Doing the show.
Yeah, busy, just busy.
Yeah.
You know, getting to the bathroom in time and stuff like that is kind of difficult.
It's a rough life.
So, Tom, what is the Los Angeles Free Music Society?
It's a now disbanded organization that operated from 1975 to about 1981. And it was a collective of about 9 people, sometimes more, sometimes less, of musicians and artists who collectively sought to do projects on their own, releasing records, do magazines, concerts. And we were all doing like-minded music at the same time. It was 2 groups, the Duets, which I was a member of, and Les Forte Four. I kept running into Joe Potts at art openings and stuff, and we'd talk, and we decided our efforts would be better put to use if we joined forces. So it turned out to be a fruitful endeavor because we released a total of 14 records, lots of singles and cassette projects, as well as magazines. I have some of these records if you'd like to see them.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if it will show up in the camera though. But
well, we'll give it a shot. The first record was Les Forte Four's Bikini Tennis Shoes.
Oh, nice catchy title.
Yeah, and
you have like sort of masters. I don't know if they can see it on the camera, but there's like sort of like
these are masters paintings from the Huntington collection.
Is Huntington a big sponsor of the group?
No, we tried, but we couldn't get any money from them. They were pretty tight.
You understand?
Still are.
Still are. You can tell by the Levi's they wear.
Yes. Anyway, the first record was by Les Forte Four, and this was sort of the impetus to. We knew that we wouldn't get anywhere near the major record companies, and at that time, there wasn't any independent scene happening. So, Joe and Rick and Tom and Potts and Chip Chapman put their money together and released this first release. I thought it was such a great idea, we decided to continue the efforts.
Number 2.
Number 2 is the ID Art project, which was also put together by Joe Potts, which became sort of a constant format for us to work with. People would buy time, sort of an anti-capitalist statement here. You could buy time and put your work on a record, and by doing that, you'd pay like $2 for 15 seconds. And
that reminds me of a TV station somewhere.
Really? Yeah. You'd get a couple copies of the record. So this has about 60 people on it.
Wow.
And nice 4-color covers.
Yeah, nice. Nice touch.
The third one, we won't go through all of these, but the third one is worth mentioning. This is a documentation of the second performance that LAFMS did.
Oh, this is live?
This is live. Side 3 and 4 is a documentation of the Duets performance. The Duets did free improvisational music.
This one has Ballad of John and Yoko.
Oh, yes. Yes, it does, actually.
Yes.
That's on the Les Forte Four side. They did an installation of, this was at the Brand Library, they did an installation of 44 pyramid headphones. And I have one of these headphones. There were 44 of these stationed throughout the room, and the audience was invited to put these on their head.
Well, that's great.
And there was a little light on top. The room was completely dark, and you could listen to the music either through the headphones, or it was also pumped into the room.
So you have a choice.
Yeah, this is what the
I don't know if they can get that or not. But it's a room full of people with the domes on.
Yes.
Is this what your living room is like? Do you have like those domes or like around the?
Yeah, I'm into pyramids. Anyway, we released a lot of other records. This particular one, Blorpazette, was also another compilation where you bought time on the record, and we managed to get Don Van Vliet,
Captain Beefheart,
to do the cover and the label art.
Wow, wonderful! That's great. He's great.
He's a great musician, great guy, great artist.
Great, yeah, he is. He's just naturally great, isn't he?
He is innately great.
Innately great.
Another one that Don did. And the last one we did was the second Duduets album. Look to This. We decided to take our work and treat it in a sort of high-tech way. We bought time in a 16-track studio and went in, bought a block of 25 hours and worked our butts off.
Gee, can we hear some of it? I mean, we have a turntable.
Yeah, sure.
Can we look like play it?
It's a great idea. This is a piece, shall I play it? A piece called Schlagerzeit, which was written by Dennis Duck of now of the Dream Syndicate. And this was a piano piece he'd constantly play all the time and to an annoying degree. And we thought maybe if we recorded it in a grand way, it might stop him from ever playing it again.
And did it?
No, it didn't work.
Didn't work. So
we continued playing
let's
it.
annoy the audience, shall we?
Yes.
That's great.
thank you.
You know, it has a very sort of like a very like a very nationalistic polka type of thing.
Well, that's what he was listening to, a lot of polka music at
Was
the
he?
time. And then we threw in the yodeling just to you know, give it that ethnic feel.
And was it you yodeling, or was it
No,
somebody?
no, no, it was from a recording. We typed that, you know.
No, but you do a lot of that in your music. And the group, do you take like other recordings and sort of manipulate them?
Yeah, after the Duduets broke up, I needed to, I was still interested in doing experimental music, and I needed to come up with some sort of like one-man show. So I started working with pre-recorded loops, or pre-recorded tape that I found in thrift shops of things like Esquivel, who was a great band leader from the 50s, very crazy man. He self-taught musician and did very unorthodox approach to instrumentation and arrangements. So I used a lot of Esquivel and the Carpenters and Cream, Sergio Mendes, and reworked these things.
Do you have any shame when you go to a record store and what's your list?
No, actually, it's funny. I now the first section I go into now is the easy listening section.
Which I think is probably the more revolutionary.
Definitely, there was a whole series of records done in the 50s, which I've been collecting frantically. Ferrani and Teicher.
Oh yeah.
The dynamic twin piano kings, you know, the kings of Muzak, did a series of about 6 records in the 50s where they took the popular tunes of the time and arranged them for prepared piano, which is a John Cage technique. But they copped the idea completely.
From John?
Yeah, and they give him no credit.
That's incredible.
They call it gimmicked pianos.
Gimmicked pianos. Do you think John is aware of this?
No, actually, he was just in town. I thought I'd give him a tape, but he probably wouldn't care, you know.
Have you met John Cage?
I interviewed him actually about 4 or 5 years ago. He's an amazing man.
I'd love to have him on the show.
He would be fun.
John, come down.
Yeah, come on down.
Come on down.
If you're out there listening, John, come on.
But you also, I mean, you know, you've done theater too, haven't you? Like with your music, like a soundtrack to dancers.
Yeah, did some stuff for Rudy Perez, which just played at the LA Theater Center for the LA Arts Festival. And I've done a lot of stuff for videotapes, a lot of soundtracks for videotapes.
But you also were in a legit rock band for a while.
I was in a group called the Bee People.
Were they legit?
Quasi-legit, I guess.
But they're sort of part of this whole group here. Were they all original?
No, at the tail end, we all sort of got into playing rock and roll, and they just got in on the tail end of the LAFMS activities.
Were you? Do you see yourself returning to
rock and roll?
To the rock lifestyle?
No, I got really tired of schlepping drums around and sweating a great deal. So now it's all electronic. I still have to schlep around a lot of equipment.
And it's much more lonelier now too, right?
It's, you know, the first time I did a solo show, I thought, wow, there's nobody here to help me carry all this equipment. What am I going to do?
Maybe people are watching the show, maybe they can contact me and you get like volunteers to help you out.
Volunteer roadies? Please.
So please contact this cable company.
I'm desperate for help
support
on
the arts. Don't sit at home and watch a show. Watch a show and then support the arts.
That's right.
But you also you brought a video with you, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, this is a piece that was the last piece the Duduets did when we were just a duo. Frederick Nilsson and I did a soundtrack for a videotape by Brandon Miller called L.A. Nickel. And we should watch the tape and then talk about it after.
Okay, well, let's watch it. Let's let the tape roll, they say. I think that's a good idea.
Let's give it a shot.
Let's give it a shot.
Fucked up.
Wow, that sounds like an interesting tape. I didn't see it, you understand.
I understand.
I
It's
don't want to destroy the
an
illusion
odd
of
way.
TV. But can you, we only have like a couple minutes left, or a minute. Can you just tell us about it a little bit?
Okay, the first half of the tape was Brandon Miller, the video artist, did a 24-hour surveillance shot of the corner of 5th and Wall, probably the heaviest corner in Southern California. She did a 24-hour shoot of that corner and also had people walking around the streets wearing radio microphones, and they would broadcast the dialogues on the street back to the loft, and she recorded everything and gave us the raw material, and we worked it into a composition by looping it and processing it, putting it through an emulator and digital delay and adding other things on top of it. And that's the music for the first half, and then the second half is a piece I wrote called the 5 Cent Lament, which is for piano and keyboards.
This definitely is a 5 cent.
It sure is. It's a pretty sad piece, actually.
What do you, like, when you get your music, what do you, what's the technique? I mean, you manipulate the sounds? How do you do that?
I approach it through free improvisation. I mean, I work with the limitations that I've set up, either found sounds. I work a lot with records and tape loops, as I said, and keyboards on top of it. And from there, I construct compositions that I am forced to repeat in a live situation. I hate repeating myself.
But you have.
I hate repeating myself. I hate no, I'm sorry. But I'm forced to do that for a live situation. So.
You get requests, like, for that particular piece?
No, not quite.
Do you have, like, recordings of all your pieces? I mean, like, do you ever do, like, a live piece? This is for that one performance and that's it?
Sometimes, sure. Sure, a lot of times pieces are not repeated. I'll have a new tape coming out called I Love My Organ.
I Love My Organ.
I Love My Organ. That'll be released. It's a small cassette release with Tony Mostrom, a local artist.
Oh, great.
And a guy I do a radio program with. He's doing drawings for each of the pieces.
And you're on KPFK on the radio, too.
KPFK.
You have your show. Tom, it was a pleasure.
So nice to be here.
Will you come back again? Because we already covered this much.
We just scratched the
surface.
surface.
We have like this much. We have like about this much more to cover.
Just that much more?
Well,
maybe I could come back for 15 minutes or something.
Let's have lunch. You want to have lunch right after this?
I think I can work in.
Yeah, we're going to have lunch. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have lunch. Thank you so much for joining us today. Bye-bye.
Bye.